this wouldn't stand out as much, would it? You'd be like, oh, I've already heard this. So to bring in this sort of last chorus here, the bass player going up high and ripping that fill, I made that stank face because I hadn't heard that yet. That's really effective writing. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. It's time for another bonus episode where I do a completely random drawing from all of the requests I received over on Patreon last month. No edits, no research, truly blind going into this. It could be anything. So last month we received 164 requests. Let's go to the random number generator here, 1 through 164. And whatever's on line 49, that's what I'm hearing today. 49 is Frank Turner, Peggy Sang the Blues, with 14 votes. This was requested by Gabriel Not Fail. Let's jump into it. Frank Turner, Peggy Sang the Blues. Let's see. Let's go right into it. Frank Turner. Rings a bell.
Peggy came to me in my sleep in the middle of the night.
Wow.
On a Friday night last week.
This is a change up. Cool.
She whispered, hush, child, now don't be scared. I got me a few words of wisdom that I came back to share.
Great voice.
She said,
Great bass line.
"It doesn't
Great
matter
pick.
where you come from. It matters where you go. No one gets remembered for the things they didn't do." I said, "Peggy, won't you stay here for a while?"
Okay. Thought this might be a little bit country. That's a dumb assumption. Rock. Just saw the acoustic and some of the fonts. Okay, I was really enamored with the chord structuring here at the beginning. It had a very suspended type of chord feel. And I think the bass is sort of holding down here on G, while notes change on top and create different chords. You get this really dominant sort of sound. So everything's based around G in the root. The bass is really holding that down. But it starts in the guitar with this F, which is a dominant 7 interval, flat 7, then the 6. And then when it goes down one more half step, you land on just a regular G power chord. So when you kind of play that rhythmically, it gives a really nice melody sort of resolve into that power chord. It's really catchy. And it almost sounded like the bass was inverting it a bit. I'm going to go back to the beginning and just hear that opening. Yeah, see, blues, this font. I don't know. Wasn't sure what to expect. Really digging that. Don't think I've ever heard Frank Turner. Doesn't ring a bell. Does it? Either way, digging this. Yeah. Really like that.
Peggy came to me in
All right.
my
Funky
sleep.
bass line.
In the middle of the night on a Friday night last week. She whispered, hush, child, now don't be scared. I got me a few words of wisdom that I came back to share. And she said, it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you go.
You have this electric guitar kind of outlining that same melody, if you will, if I were just to call this a melody, the thing I've been playing. So this electric guitar layer comes in here and it's sort of arpeggiating it now, but outlining it in a different way. So it has that sense of familiarity based on what we heard in the intro. And to talk about this bass line, a really warm, thumpy, kind of funky thing. And it's honestly kind of hard to hear what guitar chords are happening under it. It almost sounds like it gets a little less filled out note-wise, and he's kind of just muting it and being a little more percussive. So it's hard to tell what chords are actually happening there, but the bass is dancing around a G major arpeggio, landing on the third, giving it that brighter sound. Let me go back to when that bass line starts.
Whispered, hush, child, now don't be scared. I got me a few words of wisdom.
Kind of hovering around here, the first 5 notes of that G major scale. But if you listen to the guitar chord under it, it kind of just goes a little more percussive. So it's hard to hear what notes are being outlined there.
I got me a few words of wisdom that I came back to share. And she said, it doesn't matter.
All right, I'll wait till it comes back again.
It matters where you go. No one gets remembered for the things they didn't do. I said, Peggy, won't you stay here for a while? We can drink whiskey, we can play
Cool.
cards, and we can get wild.
Vocals are fantastic.
Poker and we'll play for keeps. I only play angels lately, and they never let me cheat. It doesn't matter where you come from.
Hear that bass line one more time right here.
She said we'll play poker and we'll play for keeps. I only play angels lately, and they never let me cheat.
Okay, he's kind of going. So I feel like I hear the bass landing on the F, which is actually, again, the flat 7 in relation to G. So they're dancing around with that dominant sound and almost gives it a suspended sound, like a 4/3 suspension is this kind of sound. So you have C and F. It's 4th interval. There's no third. It kind of sounds unresolved. They go down 1 half step on the top note, then it resolves into that C major. Very common sound in popular music. They're playing with that sound here a bit in between the bass line, in between the guitar chords. So it has this unresolved sound. So I feel like your ear really just goes, I don't know where this is going to land, so I'm going to lean into what the vocal melody is doing. That's just kind of how it hits me. See, that chord they hit right there, it has that upside down sound. I use that term sometimes. Just where does your ear want to be pulled?
Doesn't matter where you come from.
Resolves back to, almost has a little bit of a tense sound, not in like this kind of tension way, but I just like the whole song has the backbone of that suspended type of sound, dominant 7, really cool.
Matters where you go. No one gets remembered.
To the D minor.
This life, the things they didn't do. And you could say I had a good start.
Ooh,
And you could
key
say I
change?
had class.
No?
And you could say that I was born beneath the ceiling made of glass. But I always kept an open house.
Okay, all of this is really clever. So we've been around G major. I know they've had the flat 7 in there, which automatically means it's in the key of C major, because flat 7 in the key of G is mixolydian. And now it really makes sense when they go to the D minor. In the key of G, the D chord is major. You have D and F sharp. So using that minor 2, the D minor cements that C major key we're actually in, but they're never actually playing anything in C major. They're just using other chords around it. That's the cool thing about writing in a modal type of way like that. You naturally have these colors at your disposal when you're not hovering around the actual key. You're using chords within it and almost tricking the listener into being in the key of G when you're really in the key of C. So when it suddenly goes to that D minor, it goes to that G7 dominant chord, you have those new colors that are not hard to find if it were to be in the key of C, but I have a lot of appreciation for how they're doing this. Now they're going to this E major, which for a second I was like, that's a knee-jerk key change. I'm like, nope, that's just the major 5 in A minor, which is C major, because it's this sound. Talk about major 5s all the time. You guys should be super informed about those now. I feel like I mention it every other video, but major 5 resolves to A minor, and A minor is the relative minor of C major. Okay, not to get too in the weeds on that, but it's really smooth how it's all being done here.
And you could say I had class, and you could say that I was born beneath the ceiling made of glass. But I always kept an open house, and yeah, I always did right by my friends. And when it got to St. Peter's Gate, I told the people I'm not the one who needs to make amends. 'Cause better times are coming. Better times ahead. No one gets remembered. My deathless child. Don't rest too long in bed.
Stank face.
And Peggy said, doesn't matter.
This is a great song. But I got to hear this bass fill the whole way it brings it back in. And the bass hasn't been super high register-wise this song. We've had some low bass notes. We've had some kind of hovering up here. But I find as a bass player, when you think about what bass lines you're going to add to a song, you almost have to hear the song with no bass in it. That's traditionally how I received songs when I was recording albums. I usually got the songs with the guitars and kind of the framework done, and the bass lines were more at the end. We might demo a song with some scratch bass just to fill it out, but I would often go back and rewrite the parts based on how I wanted it to infiltrate the song, if you will. And I had a few avenues I could take. You know, do I want to follow the riff? Do I want to follow the kick and the snare? But then there were other things like, do I want to make all of the bass parts kind of in the mid-range and save those low notes for impactful moments, or play higher up stuff? But what's going on here is that bass fill is the first time it's really ventured out into that higher territory. So because you haven't heard the bass do this really in the song, it really jumps out. It's really impactful. Again, if the bass player was up there every 4th bar as a bass fill, this wouldn't stand out as much, would it? You'd be like, oh, I've already heard this. So to bring in this sort of last chorus here, the bass player going up high and ripping that fill, it just I made that stank face because I hadn't heard that yet. That's really effective writing. Listen to how this comes in here.
'Cause better times are
Kind of the
coming.
breakdown.
Better times ahead. No one gets remembered.
Get ready.
My deathless child. Don't rest too long in bed. And Peggy said, doesn't matter.
Then it goes back down to the low note. So that's just effective bass fill art there. And tasty sort of pentatonic note choice. See if I can kind of play along with it. It's really fun.
Times ahead.
He starts it out with one note.
No one gets remembered.
Rips it here.
Deathless child. Don't rest too long in bed. And Peggy said, doesn't
Cool.
matter where you come from. It matters where you go. No one gets remembered in this listless, loveless life. The things they didn't do. Peggy sang the blues.
Ooh, keys coming in prominently.
Drifted off. Peggy sang the blues. As I drifted off. Well, Peggy sang the blues. As I drifted off. Well, Peggy sang the blues. Peggy sang the blues.
Peggy sang the blues. I swear these random episodes are just so much fun. I just never know what I'm getting. And I'm going to be doing more of them sometime in the future. But this was a cool change for the channel. I don't really think I've done a song quite in this wheelhouse. I'm going to kind of let go of the country thing, but it had that folk kind of flair, a little bit more rock, a little bit more electric. And, when you don't have distorted guitar kind of crowding out the sonic space, which I love, that's where I come from, you can often hear the nuances in these smoother bass lines that are responsible for so much of the song's energy. Frank Turner, again, don't think I've heard the name. I was thinking of Frank Foster, which is an artist kind of regionally to where I live, just Foster Turner. So I don't think I've heard Frank Turner at all, but this is really good. Know nothing about the band. It's too late to go look that up. I only have this one song to go off of, and I really liked it. Reminded me a lot of other bands I grew up listening to, just kind of in that instrumentation, not too heavy of guitars, warm bass that had a lot of movement, keys, interesting chords. So thank you for requesting this. I really appreciate it. And this got 14 votes, it looked like, which wasn't high enough to make the cut, but that's why we do these. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you want to come participate in this madness and throw your favorite band or song in the hat, come find us over on Patreon. We do this every month. I take requests, we tally them up, and I make them happen. In addition to that, we do a lot of full album breakdowns. I think we're in the teens so far. I'm about to drop episode 15 soon. And I also have bass lessons and backing tracks and lick challenges and all that good stuff if you want to kind of learn from me in that way. And if you enjoyed this and you're not subscribed, please make sure you're subscribed. I love you all, and we'll see you in the next one.